We're Kyle and Madie, and we just traveled the world for 7 months straight, and now we are currently building out a 2008 Chevy Express van, and we're gonna ship it to Europe. And thank you for coming along for the ride, I guess.
The first thing that we had to talk about tonight was first where our electrical panel was gonna go, and second, where our water tank was going to go in comparison to that, because we didn't want it to be like directly next to each other, just because, you know, water and electricity.
They don't combine well, in case you didn't know that.
And then I made a very rough diagram. Not to scale or anything, obviously. Today I think we're just going to lay out kind of where our wires are going, and we're not going to actually wire anything. So, just let's get started.
If our relationship lasts through making this electrical work, I think we're going to be pretty solid. If you can envision, there's going to be a wall right here because this is going to be our bench seating, and there's going to be our fuse panel that's on this wall. Our battery is going to be sitting here. It's pretty gigantic. And then we're gonna have an inverter in here. We're gonna have our charge controller for our solar panels. And there's gonna be a bunch of stuff in here. But right here is where everything is gonna connect that runs on DC or direct current or 12 volt, which is directly from our solar batteries. So that's where we start. I just don't think it works well this year.
So one of the issues that we're having at the moment is when we're feeding our wiring up through the framing of the van, basically, we want to try to get the wire to basically be snug along the edge and come up like onto the ceiling right here. And we don't want it to like come over this area right here, because we're going to be like building directly onto it.
Spoiler alert, we couldn't build onto it. Nothing is quite ever as easy as it seems like it's going to be. Nothing's ever easy with this, so it's just one more hurdle to go across, but we got this. All of that for that tiny little wire.
Well, we just fed that wire in through that hole. Took us a minute, and we're gonna pull it back out, because looking at the other side of the van with some of like the tail light wiring and stuff, and they run it alongside that, right alongside this basically, where I wanted to be able to just build straight onto, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do that. So I think we're just gonna run the wiring right along the lip of this, and then we can run it into the ceiling, and we'll figure out building around that after.
This is stressful. I think if our relationship lasts through making this electrical work, I think we're gonna be pretty solid.
Well, so we only ran the 2 wires today, but it was a lot of just talking it through, like where stuff's gonna go. Kind of had to move the water tank spot.
Super stressful, all of it, but
all of it just takes a little bit more thinking than you originally thought it would. So,
and it's really hard too when you have like 2 different opinions on it, and like you have to like both think of it from like other person's it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
So well, we're done today, but we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, see you then. After a few days went by, we headed over to my dad's house to get some help with our electrical from someone who knows a little bit more about electricity than we do. So we just got over to my dad's house. He's already greased up our hinges and is getting something out. We just figured out that our Maxxair fan leaked. We think it's through the bolts on it because we did not caulk those shut. So we're gonna do that really quick before we start anything else, because we do not want that leaking everywhere.
I just have to pull up all the screws and put a layer of sealant tape under it, and then I'm going to silicone the heads of them just so we don't leak.
So my dad talked about how we may need to put in our wall right here that is for our seating, just so that we can put some plugs in and some outlets in right here. It'll make stuff a lot easier, but we obviously don't have that. So at the moment, we're just gonna kind of work on our electronics that need to plug into our 12-volt system that do not require a switch or an outlet. So that would include our 12-volt outlets. So we're talking about like 120 when I talk about outlets, but we need to hook up our 12-volt ones. And then our water pump has to go through a switch. I think that's all we can do right now.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.
We have made it to our second home where we're going to get a whole plethora of things that my dad is having us get, and then also a few other things.
Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but
Well, we almost have everything we need. We were looking for some little terminal ring connectors, kind of like this, but they don't have big enough ones for us, so we'll probably just order them from Amazon and have to do that when it comes in. So
This really is our second home. I love a strong man.
for your help.
Don't worry, I got it, Kyle. I got it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right, so we got our first piece cut down here for our framing. We're using 2x2s and about to screw it in. So just using 2 1/4 inch screws to secure it to our subfloor. So
we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life.
all right, first board screwed into the van. So it's gonna start looking a little more closed up.
So while Kyle is screwing that in, I am measuring out our next cut. So we're not like completely putting it together because we want to make sure our walls and stuff are in so we can screw everything to the walls. So we have to leave a little bit of room for that, which is kind of difficult, but yeah, I'm just gonna measure the last one so we can get it in and then hopefully cut some plywood and be done because it's getting late and we're hungry. I always gotta have a nice straight edge. Oh, some of the stuff we do is so bad.
We are done for tonight. Maddie and I, we framed up the little front wall of the seat and it looks pretty good. So here we go. So yeah, we will catch you guys tomorrow when we finish out the framing and the electrical. All right, next morning, and we are going to get the plywood on the face of this so we can start our electrical today, so we can fix our, let's see, where is it? So we can fix our switch boxes. They're gonna be about right here, I think. So it's gonna have a water pump switch, light switch, and what else?
Inverter switch.
An inverter switch. Okay. Yep. So that's what we got to do next, and then when we're done with that, we're gonna head over to Maddie's dad's again, and he's gonna actually help us on doing some electrical today.
And of course, in classic Michigan vanbuild fashion, we got our nice plush Sherpa on today. You would never guess that it's like April 30th today. Like, it's freezing out. Well, if we didn't just let you hear what just happened, Kyle started cutting at the wrong spot.
I don't think that was a dot that was supposed to go to.
So it's now not going to be long enough. So we have to go from the other side now and try to use that piece for something else.
It's okay, we can still use the piece.
But feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Alright, we're making it work. Put this in.
Don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Not bad.
Forever. Forever.
Now that we have it in and it fits, we have to mark out our boxes and where we need to kind of cut. So we have to put this in, which is our box for our switches, and we have to put this in, which will tell us how much charge our battery has left on it. So
Favorite song on, just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
What do you think?
it looks good. It's weird having our like first pieces in. It feels a little bit more real. Like it's actually gonna be like a living space. It's crazy. We got a lot of work to do.
Alright, final thing for this right now is I'm just going to nail it in. And then we are going to fix the vent fan and head over to Maddie's dad's for some wiring. I guess if we haven't explained, for the vent fan underneath, well, first of all, we bought new screws because the screws that it came with were pieces of junk. So we went to the store and actually bought some good ones. And then underneath all of the screws, we are going to put a layer of, it's like a sealant. I think it's like a Gorilla Tape, butyl type sealant. So that's going underneath all the screws.
All right, vent fan is now finished. We will see you guys in a little bit when we start on electrical.
Right now we are securing this little fuse box in place, and then Steve's helping us get the wiring from the battery to the fuse box and from the fuse box to the charge controller.
Okay, so this is our electronic space. We have our battery, our outlet switch stuff, our charge controller for our solar panels, our inverter, and this is our whole fuse box. So everything that's running off 12 volt is going to go through this fuse box. So to hook up our battery, we have this wire here, and this is going to go into a switch, a control switch.
And yeah,
Like a
main
master
switch.
a master switch that will allow us to just turn off all power really quick. And then that hooks onto our fuse box with this one once it comes out of it, so it'll sit like that. And then we also have our inverter hooked up to our fuse box, and we now have our Maxxair fan hooked up to it. Next, we just have to put our lights through the switch box so it can actually have a switch to it. And yeah, it's a little bit confusing.
Can you? I don't have any red. Do I have? Got some switches going in. Steve is a lot quicker at wiring this up than Maddie and I would have ever been. He's like flying through these outlets and stuff. Would have taken us like triple the time probably.
Accidentally cut the wire. But we almost have all of our electrical done. We just have some things like the battery monitor to do, and our actual solar panels have to get mounted, but one of them came shattered, so we are waiting for the replacement one to come in.
Alright, it has been a few days since we've seen you and worked on the electricity, but I guess throughout the last couple days we've been doing small stuff to the van, but not enough that we were really going to film. So today is a pretty big day though, because I think I'm going to mount a solar panel, and Maddie is finishing up cutting out some insulation, because after the solar panels are mounted and the wires run down the van, then we're going to put up all of our walls and our ceiling. So I guess I'd have to figure out where I'm mounting these panels at first, but to see what we've done, we installed a main battery switch, and we kind of finished up wiring everything but the solar panel. So I guess here we go, let's figure this out. The first thing that I'm going to do is, in our van we have these like metal frame, kind of like studs, and I am going to go up top on the van and find out where they're placed so I can mark those, because I don't want to be drilling our bolts for the solar panel brackets through those frames, since we'll be using those frames to like secure our wood ceiling in place. So I'm gonna go up on top of the van and mark that out, figure it out. Alright, so on the inside of the van, I measured how far away like the metal frame was from this vent fan, like the edge of it. So I'm just marking with a little piece of tape now on top of the van where the frame starts and begins, and then I'll mark all of them out and then figure out where's a good spot to put our solar panel. I'm putting the brackets on, and the solar panel kit didn't send any like spring washers with it, because I guess they don't assume that you're gonna put it on a van. But I want to grab some spring washers from the hardware so it can stop. So like, since there's gonna be so much vibration when we're driving the van, the spring washer will help it so the bolts and the nuts don't loosen. Bring it up onto the van now and see where we can put it.
Hi, I've been on installation duty. It's almost done.
Alright, I think we found the approximate location it's gonna go. We'll see, I might mark it out and put it in right now. Where we're mounting the solar panels, there's like a quarter, maybe like less than a quarter inch of a gap on one of the holes on each of the brackets. So underneath we are going to put a layer of butyl tape underneath, like what we used on our Maxxair fan installation. And then on the other side that's flush with the van, we are going to put a little, like a thin strip of, it's like Gorilla Glue, like roof sealing tape. So it should be all weatherproof from rain, and the butyl will kind of help to level the other side of the bracket out as well. So all the sealant and everything is placed, so time to throw the screws in, and this solar panel will be mounted. I have some countersinks, or some screws that'll basically bite into the metal. These were sent with the solar panel kit. They seem decently nice. They're hex tops, so I guess let's put them into the solar panel. Ready to go. Alright, all the screws are in, the solar panel is down, and I mean, it seems like it's pretty sturdy up here. All the weatherproofing seals are on. Looks pretty good having the first solar panel up here. Just have to wait for the next one to come in, but I think next I am going to work on the waterproofing port for the wires to go down from the ceiling into our electrical. So yeah, here we go. So I'm going to unscrew the little connector, and it has this piece, the second piece right here. I'm just going to leave that in. It's got a little like rubber valve seal on there. So I'm going to take my second cable, my negative, positive is already in there. The end that's going to go into the charge controller is going to get put through the little like tighten section of the weatherproof part. So I put that on the end, and then I'm going to stick it down through so it's in, and I'm going to feed this entire coil of wire through until I have like a foot or two that's left on the outside of this that will be on top of the van. And if I need more or less of the wire outside, then I can always loosen this, pull more wire out, put more wire in, and then tighten it back down. So, and when I tighten this down, it's gonna kind of clamp down on that rubber seal, and that makes it like the weatherproof. All right, so that is all in. I'm gonna go up on top of the van, place this where it needs to go, and it's gonna go in between the two solar panels, and then I'm gonna drill two holes, or drill a hole for the wires to go down in between, and then I will caulk the outside edge of this, and then probably throw 4 screws into the edge. Alright, my holes are drilled, and I am just gonna throw some, I have some little rubber pieces that I'm gonna put on the inside of the hole that I drilled, just so I can not have any sharp metal touching these wires, because if it rubs at all, I don't want them to cut open. And now I'm just going to put my wires through the hole. I'm going to caulk the bottom of the weatherproof like clamshell, and then screw it in, and that'll be done. Came out to help me at the very end.
Hey, I've been working. I haven't been bumming around.
We just hooked the solar panels into the charge controller right now. So we have the negative, or the positive coming in, and the negative right here. And then these 2 wires over here are feeding directly into the battery. So solar goes from the panels to the charge controller, from the charge controller into the battery, and then the battery disperses it wherever we need to go. So I'm gonna plug in the battery and see what happens. It should work. Oop. Okay, so looking at the solar charge controller, it's reading that there is a panel that is receiving sunlight right now, and it also says that our battery is at 13.2 volts, so all the lights are green, no error light on, so looks like our solar system's all set up.
Woohoo! Woo! It's like our first like really big accomplishment. Technology makes everything so easy yet so difficult at the same time, so it's really cool to actually have stuff work. How you feel, Kyle?
Feel pretty good. It says we have 0.4 amp hours, or 0.4 amps. Is that what's coming through the panel right now then? Yep, from panel to battery is 0.4 amps right now, so.
Woo, we're bringing in the energy. Man.
Yeah, I guess we're done for now, so we'll see ya in the next video.